Hi friends, how are you doing today? So today's book for Storybooks and Art is one that is a favorite of mine. I was telling my friend that I work with, she asked me, how do you pick out all these books? And I'm like, sometimes I go to the library and just kind of browse around, and sometimes I like to look on videos and see what other people are reading, but sometimes I remember when I was little like you and certain books that were read to me when I was younger. And this was a book that I remember sitting in my desk in the first grade at Milford Elementary, and my first grade teacher, Mrs. Landrigan, reading this book, and I loved it so much. And I've always loved this book, and I don't know why. It's a little goofy. It's a little bit like, what could this really happen? And I think I was really wondering if this could really happen when she read this book to me. So I am so excited to share this book with you. And this book is called A Fish Out of Water. And it's by Helen Palmer. And the illustrator is P.D. Eastman. And P.D. Eastman, he also did the book Go Dog Go, which is one of my favorites. So let's check out this book, A Fish Out of Water by Helen Palmer. Oh my goodness, I always thought that was such an interesting illustration right there, because I'm like, that's a big fish. What happened? This little fish, I said to Mr. Carp, I want him. I like him, and he likes me. I will call him Otto. So it looks like he's picking out a fish for a pet. Very well, said Mr. Carp. Now I will tell you how to feed him. Then Mr. Carp told me, when you feed a fish, never feed him a lot, so much and no more, never more than a spot, or something may happen, you never know what. Ooh, my goodness. So just a pinch, just a spot of food. I mean, well, but what could happen if he fed him more? I don't know. Let's keep reading. Then I took Otto home. I gave him some food. I did not give him much, just one little spot. But this did not make Otto happy. He wanted more food. He had to have more. Poor Otto. He just had to have more. Look at Otto. Does he look like, oh, why are you starving me? Why are you feeding me? I knew what Mr. Carp had told me. Never feed him a lot, never more than a spot, or something may happen, you never know what. But I gave Otto all the food in the box. Ooh, look at Otto. He's like, yum. That's way more than a spot, friends. What's gonna happen? Then something did happen. My little Otto began to grow. I saw him grow. I saw him grow and grow. Soon he was too big for his little fish bowl. Oh my goodness, this big fish. There was just one thing to do. I put Otto into the flower bowl. There, Otto, I said. This will hold you. But no! The flower bowl did not hold him. Otto went right on growing. This was not funny. This is not funny at all. His tail was growing right out of the top. Oh my goodness. I grabbed the flower bowl. I ran with it. Otto, I said, I just know where to put you. Then you will be all right. I put him in a big pot. But Otto was not all right. I saw him grow some more. Very soon, he was too big for the pot. Oh my goodness, friends, what is gonna happen? I put him in pot after pot. He was growing so fast. Poor Otto. My poor little fish. Oh, why did I feed him so much? Otto, I said, stop growing, please. But Otto could not stop growing. He was growing all the time. Very soon, I ran out of pots. Oh, what is he gonna do now, friends? What if you had a big fish at your house? What would you do? Where could you put him? Is there some place in your house that has a lot of water? Otto had to have water. There was just one thing left to do. I did it. I grabbed him. I grabbed him by his tail. I ran with him up to the tub. The tub is big. It can hold lots of water. That's a good idea. He was thinking really smart. Oh, at last. There, Otto, I said. This tub holds my father. This tub holds my mother. So it will hold you. That's a good idea. You think he's done growing, friends? I bet things are fine now. Let's turn the page and see what happens. But the tub did not hold him at all. Oh no. He went right on growing. Oh, Otto, I said, what can I do now? I don't know. What's he gonna do? Then crash. The door went down. Crash. Otto went down. I went down too. Oh, what a ride. Oh no. Down went the water into the cellar, and down went Otto too. I had to do something fast. I grabbed the phone. Who do you think he's gonna call? I called a policeman. Help, help, I said. I fed my fish too much. Mr. Carp told me not to, but I did. What? Said the policeman. Mr. Carp told you not to, but you did? Too bad. I will come at once. The policeman came. My fish went that way, I said. He is down in the cellar. Oh my. The policeman ran down with me. What a fish, he said. He is much too big to keep in a cellar. We will have to get him out. How are they going to get him out of the cellar? Good thing the policeman is there to help him. We had to work and work to get Otto out. Poor Otto. Oh, why did I feed him too much? Mr. Carp told me something would happen, and it did. It did. Oh. He didn't use his listening ears, did he? He got instructions, but he didn't follow them, and now Otto keeps growing, and the police are there. Oh my goodness, this is a real emergency. Now, we had Otto out of the cellar. But now, Otto had no water at all. A fish has to have water, I said to the policeman. We must take him to water. Get help. Call for help on the radio. He's kind of being bossy to that police officer, isn't he? Especially since he created this mess. The policeman called on the radio. He called for the firefighters. Help, help, he said. A boy has fed his fish too much. A boy has fed his fish too much. We will come at once. This seems like maybe in this town, this happens a lot for the police and the firefighters not to be super overwhelmed by the fact that this fish is growing. What is happening here? Where do these people live? Let's find out. The firefighters came. They all helped to get Otto up. But where can we take him, I asked. Uptown? Downtown? To the pool, said the firefighters. To the pool, I yelled. And please hurry. Off they go. Oh, look at poor Otto. And they just so happen to have these wheels for a fish. Down into the pool went Otto. Into the pool with a big splash. Now I was happy. Now at last my Otto had water. Lots of water. This big pool was just the thing. This big pool would hold him. But Otto went right on growing, and no one wanted Otto in the pool. They did not like Otto at all. You take that fish out of here, they yelled. Look at all those people. They're like, we are trying to have a nice day at the pool, and just because you couldn't follow the directions of Mr. Carp and your fish is growing out of control does not mean you can take our pool day. Get that fish out of here. There was just one thing to do. I did it. I ran to the phone. I called Mr. Carp. Please, please help me, I said. I fed Otto too much. Oh, dear, said Mr. Carp. So you fed him too much. I knew you would. I always say don't, but you boys always do. Yes, I will come. Mr. Carp was expecting that to happen, I guess. Then Mr. Carp came. He had a black box in his hand, and he had lots of other things too. What are you going to do, Mr. Carp? I asked him. But Mr. Carp said nothing. He just went right up to the pool. He took his black box with him and all the other things too. Splash! Mr. Carp jumped into the pool. What's he doing? Splash! Now Otto went down too. All I could see was his tail. I could not see Mr. Carp at all. What was going on down there? What were they doing down there in the water? Oh my goodness, and all the people at the pool are looking too. Now I could see nothing. Not Otto, not Mr. Carp, nothing at all. Would I see my Otto again? Would I see Mr. Carp again? Mr. Carp, Mr. Carp, I yelled. What are you doing? Are you all right? Look, what's happening? All those ripples? Then up jumped Mr. Carp. In his hand was a little fishbowl, and in the bowl was my Otto. Mr. Carp had made him little again. Don't ask me how I did it, said Mr. Carp. But here is your fish. And from now on, said Mr. Carp, please don't feed him too much. Just so much and no more. Now, that is what I always do. Now I feed Otto so much and no more. Never more than a spot or something may happen. And now I know what. I love that fish. It makes me laugh. The end. We made it to the end of the book. A Fish Out of Water by Helen Palmer. So fun. So quick, let's grab our bag. That was kind of a long book, but that book, I just loved it. I just love that book. It's so funny. It's fun to read because it's like kind of crazy. Like everybody gets involved to help this little boy with his fish, which is so nice. So love bugs, you're gonna need your bottle of glue and you are going to need a marker and your glue stick too. And you're gonna see there's a little hexagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sides is a hexagon. So we have our little hexagon and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sticks. So we have 6 sides, but only 5 sticks because we're gonna take our glue and we're going to glue our sticks all along the sides of our hexagon. And you're gonna see what it makes here. It's very exciting. You could use your glue stick for this too if you need. I just think sometimes our bottle of glue is a little stronger when it comes to using our craft sticks. But you'll see what I'm doing here. Here we go. We glued it on and look what we made. It's a fishbowl. It's a fishbowl. Uh-oh, my fishbowl's falling apart. So it's a fishbowl. And then you can use your marker and you can draw a fish on your orange. And it's so fun. An easy way to draw a fish, friends, is to draw a rainbow. And then if you flip it upside down and you draw a rainbow the other way. Rainbow, rainbow, and then you add a little triangle at the end. And you can add some eyes and some gills. Boop. And if you want to use your scissors, then you can cut your little fish out. And there he is. And then you can add them to your fish bowl. You can add them to your fish bowl. If you want to use your crayons to decorate up your fish bowl a little bit, if you want to give your fish like some seaweed or some decorative rocks. I gotta pick up my fish tank here, sorry. And then, yeah, so you can decorate it up just a little bit more too for your own little Otto. You can name your fish Otto, or you can name your fish something different. You can name him whatever you want. Let's get that glued on there. There we go. So you can kind of see, and there is our fish in our fish bowl. And like I said, you can add some more decoration to it if you want. I'm gonna add a little bit of seaweed at the bottom. And some rocks. I think I'm gonna make my rocks brown. Now let's see how this looks. There you go. And that's to go with our book, A Fish Out of Water. There you go, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. This is kind of a long video today. Oh my goodness, because it's a long book. But I hope that you had fun. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a silly book and I love it. And I just remember being little like you and wondering, is that what happens if you feed your fish too much? Is that why my mom will never let me have a fish? I don't know. We'll find out. I guess I'm bigger now. I could get my own fish. But I would just feed him a little bit, just a spot. Not a lot. One hand here, one hand here. Hugs. Kissing your brain, hugging your heart. Be safe, kind, respectful, responsible. Bye, love bugs.